Welcome to the Wednesday edition. It is Death Valley Daily. I'm Brad Senkiw. He's Owen Watterson. We're talking more NFL draft and Clemson today on this edition. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We want you to hit the subscribe button. Remember, the more you subscribe or the more people that subscribe, the better chance Clemson has of winning a national title. We've run the numbers. We've done the math. We've hired the greatest scientists in the world to come up with a formula to make that happen. So please subscribe, follow us every day. And don't forget, we are every Thursday, we will have our live show. You don't want to miss that. It's the All Clemson live show. Make sure you tune in for that. Oh, and let's get right into the topic of the day. Still breaking down the NFL draft. The Jacksonville Jaguars won at 15 last year. They earned, and I use that word strongly, they earned the right to draft Trevor Lawrence. They've got a ton of cap space. They had a solid draft, in my opinion. I'll get your thoughts on it in a moment. And now they've got a new coach in Urban Meyer. It's a whole new regime there. Do you feel like the pieces are in place for Jacksonville to help Trevor Lawrence, the number one overall pick in the draft, former Clemson quarterback, succeed in the NFL?
Well, I think you already saw that they tried to start doing that by drafting Travis Etienne at number 25 in the first round, right? I know, Brad, me and you talked about this pre-draft about how, we were kind of on the fence about where Etienne was going to go, if he was going to go early second, go before Najee Harris, whatever. And despite the fact that I think, like you guys said in yesterday's episode, or Monday's episode, talking about the offensive line problems, I really think that they could have leaned that way. But with some of the injury concerns early, back half of the first round with some of those offensive linemen, I can understand why they tried to wait and got some help later. I honestly expected them to target Jackson Carman later, potentially in the third round. But as everybody saw, he went in the second round a lot earlier than most expected without the pro day and all. That was a big surprise to me, especially with guys like Deontay Brown, who was built like about two offensive linemen in one. Went back in the sixth round. So a little bit of a head scratcher. So I thought without the limited tape, he would have been a good fit for Jacksonville because Urban has those connections with Dabo Swinney and knows what he can do, maybe a little bit more than others could. Right. So ETN was a good pick, but I think they could have waited till, like you said in Monday's episode, till the back half of the second round. But with Urban right now, he's not just trying to help Trevor Lawrence. He's trying to help Travis Etienne. And I think a very underrated factor is that Carlos Hyde is now also a member of that Jacksonville Jaguars backfield, one of Urban's guys. And I think that experience he can offer to ETN with his experience, I think he's the leading yards rusher now, at least one of the all-time leaders now for how long he's been in the league. But they're doing their best. It's going to be a couple years. You've seen teams turn around very quickly. But in a market like Jacksonville, it's going to take a bit with the new head coach. Urban Meyer himself can draw a lot more than a lot of other up-and-coming coaches can. As you can see, bringing in their offensive coordinator from Detroit is the reason they got Marvin Jones Jr. They are on the right path. That's for sure. I know that was a long tangent, but give it another year or two, and these guys can really take a step towards competing in their division. That's the start.
Yeah, that's the start. Look, the first thing should be get as close to, over 500 as you can. Try to get 6, 7, 8 wins, 17-game schedule this year, so that's going to be a little bit different. But just figure out a way to get better and improve. They don't need to make a jump from 1-15 to winning 10 or 11 games. I mean, that's just not realistic. But if they can just, find a way to just show improvement, give the fans some hope. Trevor Lawrence have to get used to some losses, man. It's going to happen with this unit. Where do you stand on Urban Meyer and this marriage with Trevor Lawrence and how this is going to go? Because, look, we've seen plenty of failed cases of great college coaches coming in the NFL and completely falling apart. Now, Nick Saban didn't have a Trevor Lawrence. Steve Spurrier didn't have a Trevor Lawrence. Even Pete Carroll, for a while, had to get Russell Wilson, before they could really start winning. And that he sort of just fell into their lap. So I don't really know exactly what the formula is, but I would assume if you want to succeed, you want to have a really good quarterback. What do you think about Urban's chances?
Well, the whole reason I'm sure, as other people have said, that Urban took this job is because he knew who he was going to get. right? And, a lot of the questions are about what kind of offense they're going to put around him. And he has a very, very underrated receiving core, especially in his first year. And his top three options are going to be DJ Chark, a guy who is still really young, really fast, and can get over the top, along with new addition Marvin Jones Jr. and Laviska Shenault, Jr., that struggled with his name last year sometimes in the draft out of Colorado. Who, again, hasn't really had a chance to break out, showed some good things last year. And now you have three really good options in the backfield. And the next piece is just going to be the offensive line. They just franchise tag Cam Robinson. And again, to get back to your question about Urban Meyer, it's going to be, you'll see in the first 6 games, I think, is going to be how we can tell, kind of gauge what their relationship's been like, what Trevor's adjustment to the NFL has been like. But despite what some think, I don't think it could have been made much easier with any other coach. You have your running back that they drafted that Urban definitely had a hand in. And Urban Meyer himself has been around Sweeney, I'm sure, for the past couple months talking about this guy because it's been a foregone conclusion for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, you're right about that. Hey, earlier last week, I did 2 stories. I did one on 3 reasons Trevor Lawrence will succeed, 3 reasons he won't. I brought up Urban Meyer in that won't piece. Go check that out on allclemson.com. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Watch us daily. Help us with this YouTube channel. We want you to be a part of it. We want your questions, your comments. We'll take questions from you. Leave them down there. Let us know what you think about the show. We'll tell you more about it and answer some of those questions as we go throughout each week. This is, again, Death Valley Daily. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Thursday. Everybody have a great day. Take care.